Turks and Caicos people good. You would step down from your office and go and mend your affairs with this allegation that has come against you, and let the people of the Turks and Caicos go on with pride in their country. Let somebody else run the country. That is my standpoint.
Brad, the leader of the opposition, the Honorable Floyd Seymour, has publicly made a statement to this nation and indeed to the world. He has asked, and even a few minutes ago, prior to the show, we were listening to the House of Assembly that is in process right now, and the leader of the opposition has again appealed to the premier to do the right thing.
Yes.
That is in the best interest of this country. That is in the best interest of his party. That is in the best interest of his family.
That's right.
And step aside.
You know, before I want to cut you off, but see, there's no one person that is above the law or above the country. Mm-hmm. You know, why shouldn't even the PNP party allow one person to bring their party down? Mm-hmm. You know, they should come together and oust this man from being their leader. You know.
Well, you know, it's unfortunate that, and I think for our viewers that it's important that we make it clear that it is unfortunate that the premier has found himself in such a predicament. But one cannot ignore the fact that we have a situation here where the person that is being accused of allegedly raping this American tourist visitor to our country is he is the Minister of Tourism. Two,
that is so shocking.
He happens to also be the premier of this country. Yes. And ought to have better judgment than what we have been seeing displayed over the years. We have seen it displayed when the Honorable Arthur Robinson was assaulted by him. Mm-hmm. He categorically denied it to this nation. Mm-hmm. But I was on the side of Honorable Robinson when that incident took place. Mm-hmm. I was there. Mm-hmm. I witnessed him
and yet there was
physically assaulting the member of parliament. Mm-hmm. And he categorically denied that. And we know how that story got buried into the rubble.
No charges pressed.
That is a part of this huge commission of inquiry that is about to hit Turks and Caicos by a storm like we have never seen before in the Caribbean region. Mm-hmm. And so, Rad, the leader of the opposition, has again, in the House of Assembly a few minutes ago, plead to the premier. He is dragging this country through the mud.
Through the gutter.
Why he claimed that he will be exonerated and proven innocent. Why he is trying to exonerate himself. Mm-hmm. Do not carry the country through the mud.
That's right.
Do not carry your party through the mud. Do not carry your family through the mud while this is being taking place. And then again also. So what is your view with the leader of the opposition? Do you think the leader of the opposition is right in calling for his resignation?
I quite agree with the leader of the opposition, Honorable Floyd Seymour, to ask the premier to step aside. We have to understand that our leader is the official representative of Her Majesty's government and of the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands, and have to stand up for the right of the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands. And so I stand with him, and I stand in agreement with him to ask this premier to step aside, because continuing in your leadership role as the premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, you can, as was done when he assaulted Honorable Robinson, and there was no charges pressed. And nothing came about with that case. And so in that position where he is now, he would want to do the same thing again, to suppress evidence, to create fear in people, to manipulate and victimize people so that no charges will be pressed against him, no one would come to bring evidence or be a witness of any kind. So he would try to do everything in that position to try and not let this case come to end. So I ask the Premier again, step aside. Step aside. If you mean Turks and Caicos Islanders first, if you mean good for the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands, step aside and mend your relationship with your wife and go on and as you said, you will be exonerated. Well, don't carry the country through the mud as you try to exonerate yourself. Do it on your own and not let the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands have to go through it with you.
Well, I mean, Reverend Lightman, I'm reminded of when our current premier came to office in 2003. Right away, he made some drastic changes in the way our government operates. We see him hire bodyguards, buy fleets and fleets of expensive cars, start traveling around the world, jet flying around the world with the country's treasury, and all of this was new to the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Yes, it was.
And I think for those viewers out there needs to understand this country is a very small country. It is not the United States or the Bahamas or anywhere else that have hundreds of thousands of citizens. We are talking about a country here with just a little over 30 to 35,000 residents and citizens, and with a budget barely $200 million to operate on. And here for our people, when the premier started this leveraging and extravagant usage of the people's treasury, it was something that really shocked the people. And I can recall back then when the people cried out against it, he stated categorically in our House of Assembly, it is not about me, Mike Mizik. It's about the office.
The office.
And I think what the people is asking him now, well, this situation is hurting the office. It is bringing the office through the mud. Now, it is not about Mike Mizik.
It's not about him.
It is about the office.
It's about the office.
And if you have any integrity, any respect for the office, do the right thing for the office.
For the office.
Do it for the office. Because the office is an institution. And it is the office that needs to be preserved.
He met the office there, and he will leave the office there. And so, do it on behalf of the office.
But Rad, tell me, how do you feel when you see the plaster all over the world and newspapers, Turks and Caicos Island premier is being accused of raping a U.S. tourist? I mean, we have seen it in the U.S. Today newspaper. We have seen it in the Miami Herald, the TMZ, the Irish Examiner in Australia, the Australian newspaper in Pakistan, and Turkey, and Russia. I mean, every Caribbean nation. Tell me, as a citizen